What do you think about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua?
Boy. Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division.
I don't care who you are. I ain't taking no slice from nobody, right? I ain't taking no slice from nobody. It's God. That's the only person that I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm Christian.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Bill Cosby, his son, right? Dr. Dre, his son. You know, out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
They try to suppress you, but that's how they try to categorize
They
you.
can't control me. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control Charles Barkley. They can control LeBron James. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you, man.
But they can't control me. You
Not
see, it
you.
ain't no name I won't name.
Exactly.
It's up.
People online been buzzing ever since Joe Rogan touched on how fast narratives can get locked in when something shocking hits the headlines, and folks instantly started connecting dots that maybe shouldn't even be connected in the first place. Joe didn't name names or claim receipts, but he spoke real heavy about how public stories sometimes feel way too clean, way too polished, especially when powerful people or massive money are involved. That's all it took for the internet to spiral into theories, whispers, and wild speculation tied to Anthony Joshua, even though there has been no confirmed incident involving him and no verified tragedy whatsoever. Still, the streets don't wait for facts, they wait for vibes, and the vibe online was loud. What had people talking wasn't an actual event, but the idea Joe raised that sometimes accidents get discussed in private circles very differently than how they're presented publicly. Folks took that concept and ran with it, flipping it into conspiracy mode, claiming things like, the timing don't match, or why was everything so quiet, even though none of it has been backed by real evidence. That's how rumors get legs, especially when the name attached is someone as famous and controlled as Joshua, whose image is locked tight by brands, managers, and media machines. People started saying, if something really did happen, would we even hear the full story?
The car crash with Anthony Joshua and losing two of his brethren, yeah, that was the human sacrifice ritual. And the reason why it happened is because he failed to do the humiliation ritual when he fought Jake Paul. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into it, yeah, but we know how it is in terms of, selling your soul and, the celebrities have to do certain things. But I don't give a fuck. It's not just a coincidence that literally 10 days after, or however after days that he fought Jake Paul, he gets into a car crash. And two of his brethren died. And he was the only one that didn't get unalive.
And that question alone set timelines on fire. Then came the wildest stretch of all. Social media accounts pushing spooky talk about rituals, coded language, and industry symbolism, even though Joe never claimed anything like that himself. It was fans remixing his words, twisting general commentary into something darker, louder, and way more scandal-driven. That's the internet playbook. Take a vague idea, sprinkle mystery on it, then let algorithms do the rest. Suddenly, it wasn't about boxing or podcasts anymore. It was about power, silence, and who controls the narrative when rumors start running faster than facts. And let's be clear, none of these claims have been proven, confirmed, or supported by credible reporting. Joshua himself has not been involved in any fatal incident, and Joe never accused him of anything. But online, that line between discussion and accusation gets real blurry. real fast. People don't always hear what was actually said. They hear what sounds the craziest. And once that door opens, speculation turns into stories, stories turn into threads, and threads turn into full-blown TikTok breakdowns with eerie music and bold captions screaming exposed, even when nothing truly is. What really sent this whole thing into overdrive wasn't facts, it was how people felt about the silence. Online crowds started saying the quiet was louder than any statement, even though silence alone doesn't prove a thing. That's how rumor culture works now. If there's no immediate breakdown, apology, or messy headline, folks swear something's being hidden. Podcasts, clips, and reaction videos fed into that energy, breaking down pauses, tone changes, and side comments like they were coded messages. Every shrug turned into suspicious. Every unanswered question turned into, they don't want us to know.
What do you think about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua?
Boy. Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division. He's a specialist at putting knuckles through your brain, and that's what he's going to try to do to Jake Paul. And anything other than that, from a 34-year-old Anthony Joshua, will make us all think it's a fixed fight. Whether or not Josh can do it, whether or not, Jake Paul shocks the world and shows us that he really does know how to box really well and moves really good and uses his jab and blows us all away with a strategy and a lot of footwork and movement, and brings Usyk into his camp, or Lomachenko's dad, even better, who's the guy who trained Usyk.
And once that mindset kicks in, logic gets pushed to the back seat. Then you had content creators pulling up old interviews, freeze-framing moments, zooming in on nothing, and claiming it all connects, even when it clearly doesn't. That's when the word ritual started popping up. Not because of proof, but because spooky language gets clicks. People love a shadowy storyline, especially when it involves fame, money, and elite circles. But let's be real, tossing that label around without evidence is just internet theater, not truth. Still, the comments were eating it up, saying stuff like, "This industry different," or "Nothing this big happens by accident," even though accidents happen every single day. What's wild is how fast speculation replaces reality. A casual conversation turns into a headline turns into a narrative, and before you know it, folks are acting like a movie plot is real life. Nobody stops to ask, where's the proof? Because outrage travels faster than facts. And once a name with global recognition gets dragged into that mix, the rumor gets extra weight, even when it's built on air.
Any thoughts on AJ and the families?
Yeah, it's all prayers and blessings for Cena and Lots and Anthony, and I've kept them in my prayers. And it's such a tragic situation that we don't wish upon anybody, and I'm sending love to all of them and keeping them in our prayers, and I think everybody else should do the same. And we have so much love, and things are so much bigger than boxing and living life, and we're just all blessed to be here, and we all have to be grateful for that, because you never know what's next.
That's the danger zone, when vibes get treated like evidence and repetition gets mistaken for confirmation. And through all this noise, one thing stays consistent. There has been no confirmed cover-up, no verified accident, and no credible reporting backing these claims at all. But the internet doesn't reward patience, it rewards shock value. So instead of waiting for real info, people remix speculation into truth, slap dramatic music on it, and call it an expose. That doesn't mean questions aren't allowed, it just means answers should come from facts, not fear or fantasy. At the end of the day, this whole situation shows how fast a conversation can spiral once speculation meets fame. One idea sparks 1,000 theories, and suddenly everyone's an investigator with zero evidence but maximum confidence. It's messy, it's loud, and it's very on brand for the digital age. And until real facts show up, not vibes, not whispers, not edited clips, all of this stays exactly what it is: online noise dressed up as something deeper.